EMEA Masters 2023 summer, where Movistar riders are literally one game away from taking the first quarterfinal off of the hands of BKR Superliga versus LFL. Gentlemen, shall we rewind and see what happened at the very beginning of this game? Because if we had a graph, it would sort of be like an LPL sort of goal graph where it went back and forth.
This is crazy. It's like it started off very similarly. We had a lot of fights being taken that were just Movistar riders' favorite. I was talking about how Mercs are going to be so important, but I felt like this game was almost decided before anyone had the money to actually purchase Mercs. It seems like Movistar are just continuing with the rest of picking strong lanes, and it seems to be working because they hit BKR exactly what it hurts.
Yeah, but also, was it BKR also just, you know, going way too hard before those Mercs come in? And to even answer that question, it absolutely was. And I think this question right here again, I think there's a reason they call it the Superliga. That's the guy right there on Seri. Getting a quarter kill at this point in time, I mean, absolutely insane. The fact the game became harder after this also goes to show how difficult it was with composition-wise to actually end the game as well for Movistar riders, as well as making a few mistakes. But I still think that this was just Movistar riders
100%.
popping off, and a kill participation of 100% to accelerate this bot lane with Super down there. That certainly helped the matters.
I mean, we talked about Isman, how he has 3 very skilled lanes he can play from. Over in the Superliga, he was playing through Marky in the top lane as well if he wanted to. But right here, they have taken the decision to actually push Super in the bot lane ahead in the very early game, and it's worked for them, like back to back. We said Super can only win on Kai'Sa, but that wasn't the case. Zeri back to back. Could this potentially be a pick that they want to take away or ban?
It needs to be banned. It's like it's not working at all because they tried to lock in Zaya into it, and Isma is just hovering around his homie, and in the fights he delivers the engages that matter the most. Even in the last triple that we saw, the timing on the Zaya ultimate there to land with the W to make sure that Zaya doesn't have the potential to pop off is such a big deal. You know, I'm happy that the players that are playing the more let's call them boring champs, are getting more credit, because real gameplay, when it's good, it's good.
Yeah, but I even think, you know, it was really Movistar struggling a bit more with the same win condition they tried to get through in the first game, where they just got a dive and they got super ahead. This time around, that wasn't the case. RVK was actually around to cover for it with Pridestalker this time around, and they got the first one off. The dive was a bit of a mess, but these one just kept coming back, and Pridestalker was like, well, I still have the rest of the map to play for, did not care. They continued to accelerate Super, but at some point, things started to go wrong as well for them.
I think the crazy thing was that, you know, sometimes I call this the way they play it, it's like a baby driving a Ferrari, you know? It's like they are so far ahead, and they felt like this is where they're gonna collect, you know, reels for their highlights, because it's like Rumble was on top wave, LeBlanc was on bot wave, and then they keep taking fights that have bad numbers. The only way back in for BKR to actually compete in this game was indeed to just group and try to find a fight, because no one could deal with the LB, they couldn't deal with the 3v3 on mid lane. It was a rough one altogether.
But this is Superliga, right? We said that every time they come here in EMEA Masters, it's a fired-up league. They thrive on skirmishes. They thrive at brawling and bringing the fight in your face. And if you're unwilling to fight, you're going to fall behind, like we saw BKR, what we saw BKR happen to them in game number 1. Now, of course, there was a saving grace. BKR managed to get these skirmishes, but it ended up going south. Kubok, why?
Well, I think it was just a little over-eager at the times as well, though. Even though they got ahead, they got split up, and I think that's where it became super difficult to play into it, because in a situation where you get Baron like this, you feel like they're just going to take the game. You feel like there's no way they can actually actively lose it. But I think FLICKR as well was huge. Finding access to the backline as well multiple times to get rid of the carries, making sure they couldn't play the game, was pivotal. And at this point in time, when you've already lost 2 members in a bit, there's no way you can team fight it. So even though you get the objective, they don't get out quickly enough, they're not able to connect, and the disconnect that they find themselves in is where that Movistar rider strikes back.
It's also so crucial that in terms of the goal distribution, it's like Zeri was so relevant in this game, the only source of physical damage. LeBlanc was coping with her static shiv, and the Night Harvester that doesn't even proc of static shiv on this patch anymore. You know, he was...
Who's gonna tell him?
He was, you know, he was in deep. You know, the Mercs were coming in. You know, the gold value of those items beginning to stagger, but Zeri was in the pocket with the IE and, of course, the Hurricanes. He was so super strong. So when the fights were played proper, and some of the void stats began to come in, for example, for the LB, then everything just started looking like a Movistar, you know, movie.
Maybe that was the plan all along, fooling you into
Good one.
believing the entire team is AP, and then suddenly the Zeri pops off again, 6 kills at 10 minutes. Now, of course, gentlemen, we had another very weird pick come through, if you will, the Nico for the bot lane. Do we feel like this played a huge part in how the early game snowballed for Movistar?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think the Nico really made it difficult for them and snowballed the bot lane of the enemy instead. I think the Nico actively halted their win condition. I think Alvaro actively found himself in a position where the Nico ultimate couldn't find the value. And the only value I saw in the pick was that it gave you a push into Alistar, and that allowed you to push for some plates. Outside of that, in the grand scheme of things, this champion could have probably been any other champion, and then it wouldn't have mattered.
Honestly, it's like this 4-5 from Movistar Riders, like I would never expect this. Like, yeah, we're talking about, they're AP heavy, and then they just pick Nico LeBlanc. Like, these champions really, really hate playing in AP heavy comps, but Nico got prior bot and then was just like waddling around, vibing because Zeri was ahead, you know. I think he just said, my job's done with Dove bot, my AD is 20 CS ahead, I can run it down now. I'm playing support. It's the only role where it's allowed.
Yeah, it's actually true.
This guy's hinting,
I do
everyone's
it as
smiling.
well. Like, look at my match history, bro. Like,
It's creating pressure on the map. It's fine. Now, of course, Movistar are on the brink of making Superliga history for themselves. There will be the second team after Heretics to take a series off of the LFL in the playoffs if they manage to close out this third game. And Yamato, we chatted a little bit after game one and we said, when do you press the panic button? And BK ROG chose red side for this third game. Is that the panic button?
That's a big panic button. It's like in the cockpit is the big red one, you know, in the middle, you know, let's change sides.
Red side.
You know, I hope they remove Zeri. It's tougher on red because you have to remove Tristana, maybe trade a couple of these junglers and maybe, compete for the Rumble pick. Maybe that's something they can do. Maybe hope they get the Jace angle themselves because that's what enables the Rumble, of course. I think it's tricky because the main thing that stands out is just the Zeri trade just doesn't work. And now the question is, what is hiding behind that door?
I also just think that even though you go to red side, which is quite often to get the counter pick, to me, that, of course, does matter, but what matters even more is just finding yourself in a position where you're not constantly getting pushed in on wave 3, where the enemy jungler is down there. You just need to stabilize the support matchup. If you can finally find yourself with a counter pick here, so FLICKR is actually on a champion where he can get agency on and start roaming on the map, which is what they've had so much success with earlier as well, when he can influence Checo in the mid lane, that's where they can start playing the game on an even footing. But if he continuously is just on the tower, and nothing can be done, and no rotations are coming through, and they're clearly not as comfortable playing with the jungle down towards the bottom the entire time, you need to find a different way of avenue to bring the pressure elsewhere on the map, and you can't do that if you're stuck under the tower.
I mean, I do hear you, but here I have a BK ROG draft where they B1'd Talia, they B2'd Alistar. These were the two out of 3 priority picks that they usually win their games with, and it did go south. Was the Rumble potentially the key piece that was missing from them, or do we run back the Talia?
I think the issue there is like LB can create pressure against Talia. Alistar, very weak early. Renekton loses against Rumble early. I feel like when BKR don't have the matchups that allow them to express themselves individually, especially in the solo lanes, I think this is where they struggle because they are going even, but going even is not enough, especially when their bot lane is underperforming like they are currently.
And also just with the playstyle, I mean, we even saw that the first Herald, even though they weren't really in a position where their champions could contest, they still did it. So it also just feels like this is players that want to play from the early game, so you need to give them tools that actually allows for that to happen as well. And while Renekton is good at the first Herald, the rest of them wasn't, and specifically when the enemy support is there faster than your own, you're just going to get out rotated and lose the fight.
Now, my question is here, of course, BK ROG are coming in with some huge names in the roster, KC as well, Geo as well, like huge names over in the LFL. A lot of ex-LEC stars are playing in the LFL right now, super stacked league. But why is it not clicking? What is it with the LFL? They have so many huge names. Is it just names, Yamato?
I feel like, that's been the trend from what I've been watching. Similar with K-Corp, it's like in their matches that they load, I was so surprised when they were called Machko. Do you say Machko?
Yeah.
Because in my head, I have never heard anyone say the name out loud. So I've been calling them Mako in my head. But
Yeah, it's an Italian
I will come back. I will come back.
Yeah. Go on.
Like even in that game, in those games, K-Corp was doing so well individually, but then when it came to the late parts of the game of connecting and playing, the team aspects better, this is where they suffered. And I feel like that's been kind of a trend because you've had these so-called super teams in the ERLs, in the LFL. That's where all of the players want to go because it's the busiest league. That's where you get paid the big bucks, and that's where you have the most eyes on you because of some of the teams that are involved, of course. But you can see that there is a flaw in that too, because I think BKR is also a team that relies on having their players show that level of individuality.
Well, perfect. Well, let's see if they can take that individuality and turn it into teamwork, because they're literally backs against the wall. We will be covering, of course, picks and bans right here. This is the last chance that BK ROG and the LFL have to take down the Superliga in yet another quarterfinal. For Movistar Riders, it would be repeating history. Their highest finisher has been back in 2020 with Aljoya in the team, making semi-finals. So they're looking to repeat that here.
Jace is already out. I'm assuming BKR will ban Tristana on red.
Yeah.
Because Tristana is just broken.
Absolutely.
He's always in Sweden nowadays.
That is
Bouncing
very true.
heads.
We all know a lot about Sweden here in Europe.
Yes, sir. Oh, Poppy out. So it means that Zeri is going to be in the picture.
Absolutely.
Is Zeri first pick?
I mean, it actually could come down to it. It's actually a Tristana ban on blue side from Movistar, so that is quite interesting. I do wonder as well if BKR thinks that the Zeri will be not first picked and they'll go for Rel, and then hoping that they can take Zeri on 1-2 themselves.
You're too smart.
I mean, maybe. We'll see.
Please, for the love of God, pick Zeri now,
right? Here, right?
There's no way you let Zeri go through.
What should be Zaya now? It's going to be Zaya once
again. It's going to be Zaya?
3 times in a row. I got it this time.
We need to find the panic button. The panic button is to not let Zeri.
You cover the draft. I'll go find the panic button.
There's a panic button. We have one in the studio. He's going to turn off all the electricity.
And just bring the button, All right, of course. Sejuani's been locked in here, and we are possibly looking for something like an AD carry here. But I'm just thinking, if the Zeri does get taken away, Super has a 100% win rate on the Kai'Sa.
True.
Okay, you don't need to press it yet. Hold it there. But it was the Zeri instead of the
we did press it and the Zeri came through. So it works.
Okay, actually very smart. It's actually pretty good.
It's not plugged in, but it works.
I mean, you can plug
it in your pocket. Just plug it into your pocket.
Plugged in. Perfect.
There we go.
All right, Renekton Denial. Do we get to see a Jax on 3? I would love to see a Jax on 3. That's finally Howling. It's a good counter pick.
Especially with Sejuani as well. You know, you got something to play towards up there.
Drop support, or maybe they just slam the Arasa to keep it simple. Maybe Howling says, yeah, I have plenty of champs to play.
Ooh, okay, well, you take away the Zeri, and then the 100% win rate, at least the one where you got the only wins in groups for all Super, it was the Kai'Sa. But there it is, and it looks like you're pretty goddamn smart as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. This was an easy one, though.
Yeah.
This one, I saw your notes.
No, don't.
I saw your notes.
I don't mean to press the panic button, and I can't, because I'm very far away from it. But we did say that Super has a 100% win rate on Kai'Sa. So they've taken him off the Zeri where he snowballed back-to-back games, and now he has been put on Kai'Sa duty where he's so freaking skilled at. What support do you pair him up with, gentlemen, to play against such a heavy, sort of engaged composition? Jax could be flanking, Sejuani will be playing in your face.
Well, it does look like with the Alistar ban that this Rel could be going down towards the bottom side as well. Sure. I think BKR is actually blind picking their mid laner here to make sure that their bot lane is stabilized this time around, that they can get the counter pick no matter what down in that bot side. At least I feel like that would be a very good idea from how the game's been going so far. And you can see they're not fully sure where this Rel is going either, because they are throwing a Rakan ban in there. So they weren't looking to B4 Rakan themselves. They're still keeping the options available.
I want to say that the Azir blind will probably be the best now in terms of, like, a lot of Shekola champions are out of the picture now.
Movistar agrees and take us away.
Because it's like, maybe you can just slam a Nautilus. That's one way if you want to 5-pick the mid, because the other approach would be to blind pick Azir on 4 and then to 5-pick Braum maybe into enemy Nautilus, or maybe the Rel 2. Now I'd imagine to just pick Nautilus. Let's see what they do.
Yeah, I mean, his most played all out of it, and it is just going to be the Nautilus.
5-pick mid lane. Now LeBlanc is also in the picture. Maybe Frescoe runs it back.
I mean,
a little LB.
So Braum could be nice into the Nautilus here. It's not the best pick into this area. It's hard lockdown, but it is still good disengage to Sejuani, to the Nautilus as well. And then I do wonder about that mid blind pick.
LeBlanc Trundle.
Oh, you ready for that?
Oh, is the Kai'Sa blind mid? Damn, if he does that, getting baited by a hover? Holy moly, that is bold. That is very
We didn't even get baited. They locked it in. It's Sivir bot lane.
It's pretty good into Nautilus as well. That R button is not as volatile when you can just press E on it as a Sivir. It also makes me believe that the Rel will probably go down towards this bot lane.
No,
I mean, they could go for the Trundle now that you called out earlier. No, it's the Nocturne actually.
Oh. Nocturne kind of doesn't make a lot of sense here. What's the point of because in my mind, they like Kaiser Braum is a bad pairing, and then I think, oh, they go Civi Braum. That's a good pairing.
Yeah.
But I guess Braum into Jax and Zeri doesn't get turbo value. But Nocturne is kind of strange. Into Jax, Sejuani.
I'm just wondering, where's the lockdown? Who dives in with this Nocturne right now?
The Kaiser.
Well, potentially. But the lockdown in terms of CC will be very difficult for Movistar with what they have right here. Especially early game when no one's connecting. And if they're getting out-rotated and you see the tools that's on BKR, they'll definitely have an easier time rather fighting around the first objectives.
My question right here is, not who has the better composition, we just know how Movistar likes to play the game. Brawl, in your face, level 6 on Isma, you bet he's gonna be diving side lanes. Is this a good combo for what they like to play with?
I think considering how important early game, how crucial level 3 has been, Nocturne, Sivir, these are not champions that play on that wavelength. I think the fact that BKR is going to be allowed to breathe in this game and actually play like a full clear game into maybe a topside gank to get Howling ahead and just take it easy. I feel like this is probably the best showing that BKR has kind of shown in the draft.
I'm going to be honest, I don't think Movistar's taking this. I think BKR, they have all the tools they need to actually get back into this game. So the bottom doesn't need to be pressed for BKR, but maybe for Movistar later.
It and it worked.
Okay,
because it's connected.
Well, I kind of plugged it down. We can keep it there. Georgia, please save me.
Okay, one last time. BK ROG's last chance to turn this quarterfinal around and beat Movistar. Gentlemen, can we please press the button to send it to casters? Because Jamad and Hiprain are waiting on the other side.
Give it a...
Hello, everybody, and welcome back from a very chaotic desk as we are getting ready to go into this third game, a potentially final game. Although there were concerns and buttons pressed about this comp from Movistar. I'm curious of your thoughts on it, Jamada.
Yeah, definitely. I don't even know how to say it. I'm almost in line with Yamaha. I think there are a couple of things a little bit strange about this composition, right?
Yeah.
You know, Kaiser Braum, it's not the best pairing in the world, but it definitely could have gotten things done. Sivir, however, on the opposite side, with a Braum could have been quite nice, but then they take Isma off of this rail, which he's been performing really well on throughout this series, chuck him on the Nocturne, put this rail down on the bottom side. Definitely a very different taste of composition for Movistar, and I feel like the desk's read was quite right. For Movistar, this is a game now where you've got to wait, you know, at the very least until level 6, until you can really start to force plays, and that could give BK ROG a lot of breathing room to actually try and be proactive, which was one of the things we were hoping for them moving into this game 3.
Absolutely. Well, seeing again, just defensive lines, no invading, no shenanigans from either team. Do not want to be toin costing, especially if you're BK ROG right now, to toin cost the game on the back of an invade. But some really nice tools set up for them. Howling on that Jax and will be a menace in the side lane, but also very, very solid when you get into team fights as well. Being able to jump in and lock down multiple people with the Counter-Strike is just going to go for a little bit of information gathering this time. Isma, I expect to see them probably playing this quite aggressive. And just, well, not aggressive, I say, very fast-paced jungling and just try and get as much experience put together as possible. They start on an invade to deny Pride Stalker a couple of camps. Also just accelerate their experience for the moment. We'll see if there's going to be a return play from Pride Stalker onto the red buff on the other side, if he's aware that this is happening.
Yeah, that's the problem. I don't actually know if BK ROG or Pride Stalker are aware. It seems like Pride Stalker is just going to go up towards the Wolves. So either he's yielding or just has no idea. It's just a clean invade from Isma. A lack of defensive information available to BK ROG. So there you go. He's taking the Krugs now. Could even turn this into a level 3, right? Ooh. Like up here on the top side. Marky gets a nice trade on the back end. He knows there's no Counter-Strike now. 10 seconds, 8 seconds, flash forward. But now, flash forward again.
This is so done though, right? He could just flash Fear. Howling, nothing he can do. He's going to go for the ward hop. Breaks away from the Fear. Lovely.
Of course. Really well played then by Howling on the back end. Definitely a little bit risky to go for that play, but flash for flash in this lane, not the worst in the world. Isma, he knows that ward is there. He's going to look for the dive, but I think Howling's going to get this reset off in time, unless he can Q him underneath the tower. Oh, just a bit short. About. Even if it connected, I think he still was inside that window to go back to base. So Marky will do a little bit of proxying, albeit very risky proxy. Pride Stalker.
Pride Stalker, not like this. They flash over the wall away to safety, but in comes Isma. He's just a ganking machine right now. Super is going to look for the kill. First blood over to the Civet. Pride Stalker's next up on the menu, and Fresh gets away with murder. Oh, this is a rough start for BK Rogue.
This was all pre-planned from Movistar. When you think about it and you take a look at it in hindsight, Isma goes for the 3-camp clear on the top side, right? That invade shows his face. That prompts Pride Stalker to have to go into that bottom side quadrant. And then it just seems like a window was afforded to Alvaro and Super to just roam up here. And where's Isma coming from? The top side to cut off this collapse. So it just all works out in favor of Movistar. Super gets the kill with the Boomerang Blade, and then the flash forward with an auto attack and a Q here from Frescowi finishes off Pride Stalker. Excellently orchestrated. And everything falls in the favor of the Spanish yet again, and they get themselves off to the races over a 1,000 gold lead 4 minutes in.
Pride Stalker looking for a bit of revenge here onto Fresh. Fresh doesn't have that flash, is going to dodge away on the Arctic Assault, and we'll just return fire a little bit into Pride Stalker. And Pride Stalker maybe could have used this opportunity to grab some camps from the jungle of Isma, but decides he wants to try and make for the play in the invade, and Isma now just gets to full clear their own jungle. They haven't needed to go for a single reset yet, and you're playing an experience game right now. They're going to get it off now so they can get some pretty optimal items on this base and basically just clear as quick as possible. That is the game plan for Isma. Hit 6, make a gank happen, but we've just seen them secure 2 kills for their team without even hitting 6, so already a tremendous start from Isma. And honestly, this entire series, Isma has just been really on it. And I know it's been the Super Show, and I think it's fair to say it's kind of been the Super Show, but he has been heavily enabled from the plays from Isma, just really playing the jungle pacing super smart, super well.
It's one of those things where the headlines will always be supers, I think, in this series, but Isma, underneath it all, he's been the glue. He's been the one that's kept Movistar together with a lot of plays. I was eyeing up potentially mid lane for Checo Lad, but we'll meet Pride Stalker now bottom side, flash forward.
Oh, super beautiful dodge there on the spell shield, and a blockout comes in from Alvaro. As Venorum loses a fair amount of HP, but obviously it is still a Sivir. They did get that first blood, yes, but they're going to be sitting quite happy as Isma actually still running around this jungle. Wait, Pride Stalker knows he's there, right?
Yeah, they've been dancing with each other for the last 30 seconds or so.
I was about to say, I was like, Isma, this is really greedy.
It's a spaghetti western, you know. You've got the tumbleweed going past, you've got the music going. They're just staring at each other, waiting for one of them to pull the trigger.
I feel like he honestly wasted a bit of time there. As Marky forced the ultimate. Howling's got the counter strike though. Marky, he might just go down here. Though he does have a lot of rage built up and a lot of healing available to him. So we'll be A-okay. He's just going to queue that wave and get some health back. Howling does not feel comfortable to take that fight. And kind of going back to my previous point, I do feel like Isma was going for a long time of playing the denial game on Pride Stalker. Might have to hold that fort though, because Marky is going to get himself the lockdown slices. Not going to go for the dice. And Howling, this is going to be a cooldown game.
Marky has more movement speed. The base movement speed. Oh, you're kidding. Bot side now, Frescowi's here.
They're looking for Trigger. Trigger's able to flash away in Venorum. That's going to be Fresh's kill for free. Oh, this bot lane is having a rough day.
What a comedy of errors everywhere, to be honest with you. Now, Movistar, if they want an early dragon, they can get it, but I think they're more interested in this dive. Pride Stalker. How much trouble is he in? Alvaro. Not going to take tower. Tower's reset now. Pride Stalker's gone. That goes over to Isma. Jake, this is looking rough. This is 3 games in a row.
This is looking real rough for the NFL second seed. They're having a bad day so far. Their bot lane just finally the first time where they're not like hard losing bot lane, and the losing side comes to their lane and kills happen under their tower, but it isn't them. Really tragic, but absolutely amazing series being played here by Movistar so far.
I wanted this replay to be the top lane 1v1 so bad. But good flash from Trigger to get away from the W. Still picks up Venorum, getting first move there. And I think this is still Checo Lad without the upgraded laser as well, so just means he's not going to have priority, and this is why the window is available for Frescowi to move over. There you go. Confirmation. Checo Lad just pokes out. Frescowi upgraded Death Ray, just not there yet, so the wave clear not quite as oppressive. Still a little whiles away. No kills, 63 CS. He's probably at like 80 something stacks right now. Once he gets it, he'll be able to keep Frescowi a little bit more pinned down in the mid lane, but until that happens, could just see another potential roam come out. And Frescowi as well, don't forget, once he gets that static shift, the mid lane wave clear very, very powerful as Checolad. Just looking to try and force Frescowi out, and this is just because he wants to reset, it looks like.
Oh, no.
About being low, but Isma's here.
Yeah, he's in danger now. The fear will connect. Fresh doesn't have the ultimate. The fear comes down, and there's going to be the kill. Picked up by Isma. Pridestalker tried to block it out. Isma now needs to make his way out of this one, is able to do so. It's actually a really hard game for Pridestalker now, I think about it, because there's 2 spell shields he's got to get through.
Everything has just been so unfortunate for Pridestalker. Gets his Arctic Assault spell shielded, like you said. Then Isma just flashes over the horn as well. So really have to feel for the BKR jungler this time out. Even the early invade, right? Really made his pathing very telegraphed, got collapsed on, and that started this snowball after all of the action. Now Movistar will get the Herald. They've really not been focused on these dragons at all, to be entirely honest with you. I'm not really too surprised. You focus on gold, go towards the Heralds. Feel a lot better. And now with this Herald, they can really go wherever they want, Jake, right? They've got...
Yeah.
I mean, anywhere you go, it's a pretty decent gold source. You get Renekton further ahead, he's tankier, won't die, but it's probably never going to be the place you put it. Frescowi and, of course, Super on the Kai'Sa and the Sivir, respectively, are just going to be great to get further and further ahead. Looks like they're both... I was going to say both going Shiv, but it's actually Super. He's going towards the Kraken Slayer with his Iamization. So, once those first items come in, Movistar will continue to go further and further ahead and press the meta wherever they feel fit. Once Isma has that paranoia up, they will look for another play, no doubt.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can tell with the attention now that the Herald has done is to shift towards this bot side and get this Herald secured, get this Dragon secured for the team. Get some extra resistances in the pocket of the players as Pridestalker just being forced away as Movistar taking out this pink ward and getting vision dominance in the area. There is still that crab, which is up for a little bit longer. So we'll have some vision to work with. Top lane is still a bit of brawling breaking out up there, but not really anything that's going to stick too much. As I say that, both of them actually pop their ultimates. Marky gets a lot of healing off there from the Ruthless Predator. Is just going to be able to force Howling away. There's not really too much they're going to be able to do about that. So it looks like the attention is now going to shift back towards that dragon on the side of Movistar.
Marky wants the plate. You will probably get it off the minion wave. There you go. I was wondering if the almighty curse of Los Platos was going to punish Marky. But maybe he's punished by Pridestalker here. Flash forward.
Yeah, he's in danger. He flashes in. No way! Marky finds the 1v2 and gets the kill. Meanwhile, in the bot lane, kills are getting picked up by plenty. This dive is going down. Super putting the damage in. Fresh isn't even here in range. He's going to jump over the wall. They're going to let the tower reset and then restart this fight as they need. Venorum able to survive. Super almost going down to the tower. Maybe a snipe from Fresh. He has the W, he has the ultimate, but they're going to play it smart. They're going to play it safe, and they're just going to back off. I say that. No, don't worry.
Frescowi just decided, hey, you know what? I don't really feel like killing the Nautilus, and decided to take the blast cone out. Perhaps thought that Super and Isma had it all under control. Spoiler alert, they did not. But dive comes through here. Not really a lot of counterplay for Trigger. Great dredge line here to confirm the kill onto Alvaro by Venorum, but at that point, he's still, you know, by all right, should have been dead, but Frescowi just, yeah, no, I think he's kiting down bot side, so I'm just going to go down here, and then he kites back towards the tower. Guess unfortunate timing from his perspective. He just feels like he's getting the cut-off angle, but in the end, kind of gets run about, and the Nautilus is able to survive for now. Isma just force Trigger over the wall. The question is, when are they going to get this dragon? I think if there is one thing, it's a harsh critique, for sure, of what has been generally very strong early games here from Movistar, but their lack of want to get some of these early dragons has definitely kind of felt like it puts a macro kind of pause on their mid games. In game number 2, you kind of felt that, right? Especially with the compositions the way they were, as Pridestalker caught out.
Yeah, he's in a lot of danger here. Fresh can follow over the wall even if he takes it, so they're just going to let him go down. And yeah, no, I do agree. They've typically been about the 10-minute mark is where the first dragon falls. This is actually significantly later, and it looks like Checolad may need to limp away from this one. Will be nice and safe as Isma just going to eat some of that damage there from Checolad, and Fresh just going to catch the wave. Going to summon the Rift Herald up in the mid side and then turn their attention towards this dragon, no doubt.
Yeah, you know, more that I think about it, maybe Movistar are just in the camp of, oh, hello, this is a pretty interesting trade. Alvaro.
There's going to be Checolad in a lot of danger. He's able to survive. He actually finds one. Isma gets the second one, but he may just go down. Isma survives. unbelievably close. Checolad played that well to survive versus 3 and at least get 1 kill.
Yeah, it will at least get 1 kill. That still goes down. It's a dive. Super's got flash and a spell shield and a dream.
He's going to try it. Trigger not going to be able to survive. Not going to be able to do too much about that one. Trigger does secure the kill. Nice try though by Super, to be fair.
Now I don't want to be, you know, a party pooper.
Go on.
It does feel like Movistar are just having fun.
Yeah, a little bit. Just a little bit.
It does make me wonder if BK Rogue can look to try and punish one of these oversteps. Isma is on the top side here. Is Alvaro's presence is going to be enough to stop this from going down?
Because Alvaro just reveals Isma can jump in with the ultimate, and it's so doomed.
It's that feign also of like fog of war pressure, right? They don't know where Isma is. They don't know if he's full HP again. They don't know if he's got, well, they know he's got ultimate. They always know the collapse will come through, so they just say thank you for the leash. 14-minute dragon. And again, no soul will definitely be in the offing this game, at the very least by the tempo of which it's gone on so far.
And while we've been very, I wouldn't say critical, but while we've noted, let's say, that Movistar have been very slow to take first dragons, they do still have 100% first dragon rate in this series. So they've been very on it with getting those. As a Super may find himself in a little bit of danger. Has used that spell shield, so now Van Goren can chase him down. He has got the ghosty. He's going to just get CC'd down. There's no play for him there. Super quick to follow as well. A little bit greedy, to be honest, just coming out from Movistar.
Just a touch. They will, at the very least, punish. Get this tower in the mid lane. 450 gold into the Kaiser's back pocket, who I imagine, given the components, has to be really close to that Nash's Tooth. Is this really a collapse play you can make work? Maybe if they one-shot Howling.
Oh, Howling is going to be forced to jump away. In jumps Marky, out jumps Marky. I think he went a little bit too eager there. Heals up so much thanks to the gourd drinker in the queue, but that was scary.
I'm gonna say it though. I feel like if Isma and Frescowi tried to commit a lot, just commit to the play, you know, maybe they could have traded a couple more back, because I mean, you saw how much damage and health Marky got back, but I'm not willing to flip it. Can't blame them. Teleporting 20.
No way.
Guy, but now
Manny storms in. Here it is. Paranoia's on. They're going to jump straight in onto the backline. Checolad gets himself fitted. Super is going to finish this one up. Joining into the fight. That's 1 kill for him already. Vainoran will be next up on the menu. That one's secured by Fresh. As now Pride Stalker desperately trying to make his way away. But that's a Kraken Slayer Sivir. And he's able to get it with a ricochet. Absolutely dirty damage coming out from Super, who's now 4 kills in on the Sivir.
And it's only going to get worse, isn't it? He's only going to get more and more items. Trigger trying to do his best here to find an assassination attempt. No summoner spells on Super, but he just doesn't have the damage.
That was it. That was a pretty respectable amount of damage, though, coming in from Trigger, to be fair. I didn't expect him to get close to the assassination. Is not going to find that, though, unfortunately, as Eastman secures their team the second Herald. And I don't believe LFL have had a single dragon in this series. I think we're 6-0.
No, they got one.
6-0. Oh, they got one, did they?
They got one. They got one.
Okay. 5-1.
5-1. It feels like the last 2 games as, yeah, collapse comes through. Alvaro effectively just gives up his life for the greater good of the play. And then Super just gets the rundown. I think his ghost has expired, but of course the ultimate. With those changes at some point earlier on this year, every takedown just refreshes that ultimate and you're able to continue to step forward. Marky doesn't have the slice. It just, you know, waves him a goodbye before he flashes over that wall. But yeah, Movistar just fielding control, Jake. Plain and simple, Herald in pocket. They can look to try and find more plays. Pride Stalker's by himself. And it only lands onto Alvaro, that ultimate, so just a disengage, I imagine. He should be out of this. Maybe Howling can make a mess.
Howling. He's on a ward, though, so they know he's there.
Yep, that's awkward. Well.
Yeah, I feel they are... Movistar are just itching for a fight, aren't they? We're just waiting with bated breath for them to start something. I think they decided maybe not to kind of toy cost the game on a fight where Alvaro was quite a bit lower. Isma, no flash and stuff like that. Like, you are missing summoner spells, and Super, he's close to getting both the flash and the ghost up. So I think they're probably going to wait and have that up for the dragon instead of maybe just having a toy cost fight, which doesn't really net them anything other than more gold.
Exactly. Just play for the objectives at this point. If you're going to fight around the fact that you can win an objective after it.
Yeah.
There's that second item for Super. And again, the pressure continues to mount. Trigger, at the very least, I think it's very important to note, does have 2 items himself, so can definitely make a mountain out of a molehill if the opportunity presents itself. And I mean, hey, Movistar so far this game haven't quite been averse to making a couple of wonky plays as Howling will flash to get that connection in. Can they get chased down to Marky?
Marky's going to pop that ultimate. Zill has the Gore Drinker about to come back up as he can slice over this wall. There it is. Blast goes up. Check it out. Flashes.
Oh no.
That was a pure tilt flash. That was
Well.
a pure tilt flash. In comes the cross map. In comes the follow up. And down goes Trigger for another time. Super on a killing spree. Venorum falls. It's a double kill secured for Yzma. And it is just such a tragic series for BKR ROG. The LFL second seed just crumbling in this series and on the verge of getting 3-0'd here as Fress. He's just split pushing on the top side, able to get the charge. Inhibitor down at under 19 minutes. And their pressure is still not done. They're pressuring up into that mid wave. They're looking to pick this tower up. And it's probably just going to be a turnaround, do Dragon, and then look for Baron.
It really does feel that way. Inhibitor dead. Not the worst time in the world before 20 minutes. And then they can just, like you mentioned, turn around, get the Dragon, play for the Baron, force BK ROG into a fight, and then end the game. Everything seems pretty telegraphed. It's about whether or not BK ROG can actually upset what seems like a ordained scenario at this point. I mean, what can they really do when you try to rack your brain? They've got the engage tools of Pride Stalker and Venorum on these Sejuani and the Nautilus, but they haven't really been able to hit their mark. It feels like it's Movistar with the slightly more, niche engage tools that have really been on the ball and on the money with their engages. And I think it's really important to give a little bit of praise and highlight to Yzma. We did a little bit earlier, but even off that rail now on the Nocturne, continues to dominate, continues to find really solid plays. Every time he presses his Archie, it feels like someone dies. On BKR ROG and Alvaro, even though his scoreline might not indicate it, has been a very big reason as to why Yzma's had so much success as well.
I was just about to say that as well, because I feel like we sung the praises of both Yzma and Super, but like Alvaro has been part of why Trigger and Venorum have been gapped every game in a row. Like he's been playing really, really clean on whatever he's been given. Like he's played multiple different things for the team and just having a really, really solid showing. Obviously the rail given over to him this time to handle as Yzma gets to have a bit of fun in this potentially final game. And I'm gonna be real with you, bro. It kind of looks like the final game of this series.
It does. It really does.
BK ROG, I don't know how they come back. They've shown us now 2 times in a row that they struggle to come back. And they did do a good job in the last game to pull the goal lead back. But Movistar, it feels like they're playing a lot more respectfully this time around. And Marky teleports in, dodges away on the hook. Howling jumps in, but the lights are turned off, and the fight has gone so wrong, so fast. 2 members down. Blast goes back into the team, into the jaws of Super and Fress, who secures himself the double kill. They're chasing on to Howling. Howling's going to get boxed back for the blast cone again. Sent into the jaws of Fress, and Super secures the kill. Checkerlad is going to try and tidy up Marky here, but the Zonius comes out, the stun comes down, and down goes Checkerlad. A delayed triple for Fress, and ace for the side of Movistar Riders, and they're going to be riding on towards the semi-finals. A 3-0 over the LFL. Absolutely dominating performance coming in from the Spanish first seed.
It's a heated rivalry, LFL and the Superliga, but this one wasn't hotly contested at all. Movistar were just a step above BK ROG. They're going to take their ticket and punch it through to the semi-finals of EMEA Masters Summer here. And what a solid and strong and dominant looking performance through and through. Couple of hiccups, sure, in the mid games, but generally those early games were super dominant. And I mean, I kind of think back to the spring Movistar. You know, they fell in the quarterfinals to the Unicorns of Love Sexy Edition. And I actually recall not only casting that series, but we had an interview, I think it was with Frescawi. They said, look, our best of ones aren't great, but wait till we get to the best of fives. And, you know, that statement rang true, even though they lost that series in spring, and it felt like it rang more than true here today. Absolutely having very solid adaptations game to game. Yes, they might have cooked a bit too much in game number 2, but certainly by game number 3, they had their stuff together and they were willing to dot the I's and cross the T's with efficiency of less than 25 minutes to close out this game 3.
I would say the biggest weakness of Movistar is maybe they're prone a little bit too much to fun. They pull out that Nico support in game number 2. This game, it just looked like they were having a fun game. They after that invade went that well into the mid lane kills, I think they just knew the game was so done and they were just set up and they knew as long as they stick to the game plan and don't completely throw this, they've got this game in the bag. And, you know, they sell a little bit of fun in areas. You saw them taking some fights that maybe they shouldn't have. But, I mean, honestly, across the board, there wasn't a bad showing from Movistar. There were maybe some shaky moments and maybe a better team might be able to punish them on that one. But I can't look at a single player on that roster and say they played bad today. Like, Maki handled Howling perfectly. Isma just out jungle Pride Stalker. Frescowi. Wow, that was hard to say.
You got there.
You know, handled Checkerlad really well. Really, really well. And Bot was just absolutely canyoned. It was huge. Anyway, I'm going to pass this over to the analyst desk to break this game down. So, over to you, Trouble.
Thank you very much, Heeper and Jamada. Fantastic cast, guys, on the day. And what an incredible series. Superliga coming up ahead on the LFL. Movistar doing what no one believed, take a game off of the LFL. And before you guys get the chance to break down anything, I have with us the victorious support from Movistar Riders, Alvaro. Congratulations.
Hello. Well done.
On an incredible series, Alvaro. How's the camp feeling?
I mean, I feel really happy right now. I think there is still like a lot of work to do because you can see it also on the second game that we were a bit shaky. But I think what is most important in our team is you can see it also when we are playing. Having fun is something that is really important for us. And I feel like everyone had so much fun and you can feel like you cannot lose.
I want to ask a question on that matter, on the fact of fun, because every time we see Superliga teams, it's all about brawling, fighting, playing in your face, bringing the fight to you. And if your opponent is good enough, then they'll give you back that slap. But so far, you guys have been quite uncontested coming into this quarterfinal. And I want to ask you, moving forward, what would be something that you want to develop in the team apart from the fun part?
I mean, we usually say this in the interviews. I think overall we kind of tend to play into ourselves because we can. I mean, for me, I think we can win into any team, and we will do it. But also we can lose into anyone. So I think in the end, for me, it's most likely we need to be the most confident version of ourselves. Keep working as we are doing. I think we are probably the team that is working the hardest, I would say, since we lost into Bisons in the upper bracket finals. We did a comeback and we were working even more, like looking how we could fix the things and trying to be the better version of ourselves. And I think from that point, what we can do now is keep developing, and I think the results will come. And for me, that's it.
Okay, man, I gotta ask. You mentioned that game too. I gotta hear about the Nico. I gotta hear about that draft. I need your reflection on it. I need your opinion on it in hindsight. How do you feel about it now after the game happened? Luckily, you did win with it, but what was the reflections on that game?
I tested the champion. I was playing way better than I did today. I think I was fine in laning phase and then some skirmishes, but when it comes to the ultics, I wanted to kind of do the montage. I should be a bit of a follow-up, but I was trying to go there first because I really saw it. At that point, I started to see that I couldn't really do the plays. So I took like the second engage job. But for me, I think the pick is good. We tested it, and there is more things also that we tested in other ones, so we didn't have to show it today.
Okay. Congratulations, Alvaro, from my end too. I wanted to ask, in regards to playing EMEA Masters, you get to play against so many different regions. Now, after a little bit of you had dropped some games, of course, in the group stage, qualified, and now 3-0. Now we have forgotten about the games that you dropped in the group stage. How different is it to play against teams in the different regions? Do you see stylistic difference? How is the preparationary work as well coming into this type of a tournament with so many regions clash?
I think the most important part is we kind of screaming to everyone already, like who is left. So we already know their strengths and their weakness as well. So they also know ours, and we try to work more on those things. But overall, I will say that it's so funny to play into other regions and everything because you can see that it's another type of gameplay as well. And for example, in LVP, people tend to play more their comfort, try to scale, like play on their own. And for example, I think it's also a bit fake data because in scrims people tend to play different than officials, and it's something that we don't really do because we play aggressive no matter what. And I think another team that play like us, and I think is a good contester, is Istanbul Wildcats. So I'm really looking forward to playing to them because I think it's the team to beat.
100%. A follow-up question. Now you 3-0'd in quarters. You came in as the second seed after getting second place in your group. How much of an improvement was it on your guys' end in the confidence department, and how much easier did the matchup actually feel? Was it mostly improvement and the confidence coming back, or did the best of 5 just feel easier?
I don't know if you know, but for example, as in Superliga, like people say that in best of ones we are not the best, but then when it comes to playoffs, for example in a spring split, we won 4 best of 5s in a row, and we only lost 2 maps. And then, for example, in these ones, for me, I will say what we talk about the team, I will say is because we are a bit too emotional, and when people start feeling it. Also, for example, something that I'm trying to do now is to give confidence to my team, like the way of speaking and playing. And I think it's something that everyone did today, and everyone was feeling that we will win. And I would say it's kind of like the key factor. And that's it, because I think in best of 5s also, we have a really good coaching staff. We have psychologists, like everything is on point. And I think we are like, I don't even have to think on the draft because they will outdraft them.
Now, Alvaro, I think your coaching staff is going to have to do a lot of work because you weren't the only team that 3-0'd their quarterfinals today. Matchco also 3-0'd their quarterfinals. And of course, they're going to be your next opponent. Do you have any quick words about your matchup into Matchco and how strong do you think they are at this point?
I played into Mako the last split. I played in groups and we did 1-1, I remember, and they went first in the group and we both lost in quarters. I don't know, I think Mako is a team that, for example, like they did 6-0 in their team. For me, I would say that Mako is kind of like, they really work well as a group. And you can see it, for example, in the games that they are always playing on the same tempo and they are playing like together. And I will say that's the key factor that, for example, if we don't, and I will say that if we are not the most confident part of ourselves and we are not playing together, they can punish. But I think it's going to be a banger game, and I'm really looking forward to play already on Thursday or whenever it is.
And we are to Alvaro. Again, congratulations on making semifinals. What a fantastic series from yourself and your team. Thank you so much for joining us on this interview, and we'll see you in semis.
Best of luck.
Thank you so much. See you.
Now, of course, let's reflect a little bit on the series because it looked like a very fast best of 3, and it was. A fast best of 3.
Electricity is important.
Yes,
like,
it really is.
Like next time we plug it in somewhere.
I mean,
you didn't push it fast enough, and BKR kind of
true.
like, they were relying on you guys. What happened to them?
It was just such a collapse. It was crazy because we both, like everyone here, we thought that coming into game 3, you know, they're playing against the Noctem, things are going to be stable, but it just wasn't the case. I feel like BKR, they are playing as if they have the strongest early game like comp on the planet, and this roam down from Sivir into the mid lane to just make the game so decisive with the advantage really shifted everything apart, because I feel like Movistar did such a good job of transferring pressure.
yeah, and that's the thing, that transfer, because as soon as they come in from the mid lane, they started using the mid lane pressure down to the bot lane instead.
Yes, yes.
And every time someone got ahead, they knew where they needed to locate their resources. Well, BKR, they were kind of just in a position where they were playing catch-up or either just fully sending it in hope of something was going to change, but nothing ever changed. Like, you had this scaling composition where you could have played it better in the mid to late game where you're on even footing, but at this point it was already too late, and it came down to the fact that enemy started Baron, we're just going to go for the Baron fight, and we're going to see if we can miraculously find a pick, and if we can't, well, GG, that was the series, I guess.
And also, it's like, of course, I haven't watched the other series, how Matchco, the Italian team that went 6-0 and beat K-Corp. I don't know what they did in their series, but looking at how they played in the group stage, I feel like Movistar might be a nightmare matchup, because I feel like Marco's biggest strength came from the fact that later on in the game, they connected super well, played as a team super well. But Movistar, they just start the game so early. The pressure is on. The pressure is on you. So it's like, from what I know, which is without the info of the other best of 5, I feel like Movistar should be favored.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of pressure on C-Boy specifically because Pride Stalker couldn't match Isma today. I think that was a very big jungle gap as well in terms of finding yourself on the map. If Isma goes left unchecked and he's allowed to run around and get any single person ahead, Movistar's just going to run away with it. So I think matching the bot lane pressure, keeping control of where Isma is, that's going to be alpha mega in that semi-final.
I'm just going to say that Isma went a lot in that bot lane of Movistar Riders. And the result of that was a Supa that got extremely fed. We came into the day with Supa being down gold at 14. If we have a look on your screen right now after this best of 5, 2.1k gold up at 14. 25-8 and 22 KDA. He went massive this game.
Crazy.
Mega.
Crazy.
Absolutely.
Good team effort. We thought Zeri was the issue, you know. And then, as you mentioned, you know, it's like that the Kaiser was 100% win ratio, but then they pivoted it and they slammed the Sivir. Sivir usually like a quiet champion in the early game, but then Sivir came with her boomerang into mid lane and just shifted the play that Sejuani and Victor thought they could get away from after over-posturing. So Supa was on.
Yeah, just ran it down mid lane in a good way. Not the kind of way that you're used to. There's a carry, man. He's taking control of the early game, and you don't see that happen a lot. But Supa, apparently he can make anything happen. And the question is, can he make it happen all the way to Montpellier?
We'll have to wait and see for the semifinals. But for now, we still have some quarterfinals left. And tomorrow we'll have a very big game, gentlemen. Wildcats taking on to Kamen Corp. A lot of people thought this was the raid boss of EMEA Masters, right? This particular best of. What are we expecting to see?
Oh, the bot lane matchup is gonna go hard at the paint. Parus, Kalist. It's like these are the 2 main players that I feel like are the biggest targets of players that might just jump into the LEC coming into next year.
Oh,
so I'm super excited to see them play against each other. Always fun to see Clash of Regions, but after what we've seen from Carmine Corp so far, I think Istanbul Wildcats need to be the favorite.
Oh, they absolutely are. But I also agree with your sentiment. I mean, Kalist, he's so... God, I was almost about to curse, but just how young he is and the potential there actually is there, right? This tournament is almost created to find an easy approach to scout a player like him as well. But yeah, absolutely agree. Wildcats is coming into tomorrow as favorites.
Also, we have to congratulate Matchco. They made PG Nuts history by making semifinals themselves.
That's sick, actually.
We have a big
It's
fan.
a banger, by the way.
So congratulations, of course, to Matchco. Not only making it back-to-back into the players, but proving their haters wrong. They made it all the way to semifinals. Gulbok, you're feeling very strongly about it?
I am a really big fan of the approach that a lot of Italian teams has taken, not just throughout this year, but in pretty much every year, that they found the formula of success, which is import a Dane in your team, and then suddenly you will actually start winning some games. They've done it multiple times with C-Boys, even back when they had makers, multiple Danes on that roster as well. To me, the Italian teams feels almost like home every time they start putting in these imports. So I definitely have a favorite. While Movistar has been looking fantastic, my heart has to lay with Mochko, and I'm hoping they make it all the way to Montpellier so I can see C-Boy on that big stage.
It does make sense because the Italian flag does have the red and white in it.
They do.
So.
All right, great. So we know that Gulbok is a huge fan of C-Boy. C-Boy, greetings to you from Gulbok. But of course, before we sign off, I want to ask you, we still have the LVM support play of the day. Can we guess who this is going to belong to? Any guesses?
Has to be Supa, no? The Quadra?
Yeah.
I'm guessing the
It's
Quadra.
support play
It's support.
of the day.
Oh, it has to be support. Oh, I didn't know.
That's crazy.
You guess.
Okay.
I'm out of the loop.
The Nico dive, game 2, 3 minutes into the game.
Okay, the Nico dive, game 2, 3 minutes into the game. Let's see if it's that one.
Do they hear us over this?
It's not.
Oh, it's not.
Well.
Okay. Where is it? Okay. Nautilus. Okay, not too shabby, not too shabby.
He's there.
Okay, he showed up. He showed up big time.
He was there. He's playing Ralph.
Thing is, hard for me to gas this one up because we saw crazy red plays from Isma today. So that's the only thing. That's what I'm comparing it to.
You already have this foundation of where it needs to be. So it's not even Alvaro. He did great.
And also my issue was I was eyeing the wrong support. I was like, oh, Vignorum ulted. And then I realized he lost.
Well, you both guys suck. I guess it was the support play of the day. We are done with today's games. We will be back tomorrow where we will be having the Raid Boss Best of 5 that we've all been waiting for at EMEA Masters. KC, the back-to-back-to-back, the three-peat EMEA Masters champions going up against former EMEA Masters champions, the TCL powerhouse Wildcats. We'll see you tomorrow, same time, for a banger of a Best of 5 and last quarterfinal for this EMEA Masters 2023 summer. See you tomorrow.
It's a crazy one.
Bye, guys.
Buraya ilk gelişim değil. Ama bu defa onları yerle bir etmek için buradayım.
Her şey bitti. Çok geç kaldı bu savaşa. Beni orada The mythical beasts fall. Wildcats roar.
Alles stand in Flammen. Aber jetzt ist die Zeit für Rache.
Napotkałem na swojej drodze wiele trudności, jednak tym razem nic mnie nie powstrzyma. ¿Qué demostrar al resto? Que es un mundo brillante.
Il vous a manqué. Il est temps de reprendre ce qui nous appartient.